What's he doing?
He's just standing there. Menacingly! Get out of there, SpongeBob!
Yeah!
Hey everybody, welcome back. And as you can probably tell from the thumbnail and the title, hopefully, if it's a good title, I feel like I'm kind of bad at titles, I don't know. Today's video is about Incineroar. And hopefully, I'm going to have time to edit it up and make it, kind of pretty. Probably not like 100% pretty. I only have an hour and a half. But just a little pretty. And you'll come on this journey with me today. Today we're going to talk about Incineroar. And it would not even really be exaggerating to say that Incineroar, since it has gained access to Intimidate, is probably the best Pokemon in VGC ever. What does that mean, right? Because that can mean a lot of things. There are a lot of Pokemon that have been notorious in VGC. In Regulation C and D and B, it was Fluttermane, right? Fluttermane, best Pokemon ever. Stupid good. Right now, it's probably like either Urshifu or Iron Hands or maybe Fluttermane that are like the best Pokemon ever right now. But Incineroar didn't just dominate one format. Incineroar hasn't just dominated one generation. Okay? Incineroar has been on basically every team since it gained access to Intimidate in Sun and Moon. It has won Worlds every single time it has been legal. Every tournament, that it's legal for, it's on like most teams. Like literally, if you are looking for a Pokemon that is on every team, it's usually Incineroar. And why does that happen? Well, here's the deal, right? I have Pokemon Showdown in front of me. I don't know how much of this is going to be in the video. I don't know how I'm going to edit it. But I have Pokemon Showdown in front of me. And I'm looking at Incineroar, right? And so, first of all, Incineroar has the ability Intimidate. Intimidate is one of the best abilities a Pokemon can have. There are bad Pokemon that have been good just because they have access to Intimidate in formats where there aren't really any Pokemon with Intimidate. Now, I know, like, if you've only been playing Scarlet and Violet, it might be hard to imagine that because we've had a lot of Intimidate users. But like Gyarados, for example, Gyarados isn't that good of a Pokemon. It's really only good in like low power metas. And it's really only good when they give it access to like flying coverage somehow. So like early Sword and Shield, it was good because it could click max Airstream off of Bounce. Or like some other flying type move. I think it was usually Bounce. Early Scarlet and Violet, it was good because it could click Terra Blast flying. Intimidate is something that really elevates a Pokemon, and Incineroar having Intimidate is really good, obviously, right? But it's kind of like the perfect Intimidate Pokemon in a lot of ways. Fire and Dark is a really good defensive typing. You're only weak to Water, Ground, and Fighting, and Rock, which is, that's 4 weaknesses, but you have, you're immune to Psychic, you neutral to Fairy, which is pretty important. You resist Grass, you resist Dark, you resist Ghost, you resist Fire. These are all like pretty common offensive types. Obviously, some of your weaknesses are pretty common. Like there's a lot of rock coverage in a lot of formats. Water is not like a super crazy offensive typing, though I guess we do have Urshifu, but We've seen Incineroar be really good despite Urshifu. I believe that you can EV Incineroar to eat like a neutral Surging Strikes with a Citrus Berry, which is, pretty cool. So it's partially, it's the typing. It's a really good typing. Partially, it's the stats. If you're looking at Incineroar's stats, the stats don't look crazy, right? Like, only one stat's over 100. But all of the stats, besides its speed, are in, like, that like, this is a decent, like, number to have range. Like, 95 HP is pretty high. 115 attack isn't, like, gigantic, but it's pretty high. 90 defense, 90 special defense. I mean, 90, 90, 90 is, like, a pretty, like, really good defensive spread. You have 80 special attack, which is pretty cool. Because, you can run, like, a special Incineroar set and get away with it. It's been done. People have run, like, I've seen, like, Pledge Incineroar before. I think that was a meme team that Wolf made, but you can run, like, Pledge Incineroar, like, Snarl will still do decent damage to things because you can just run a minus speed nature. Incineroar doesn't really care about being fast. In fact, it would rather be slow. And that's another thing going in its favor. Like, base 60 speed is pretty slow. Coming into the current format where most Trick Room Pokemon right now are base 50 speed, if they don't run minimum speed, you can underspeed them with a minimum speed Incineroar, which in Trick Room is great because you move first. The other thing besides Incineroar's stats, which are really good, and Incineroar's typing, which is a great typing, is Incineroar's move pool is absolutely insane. And honestly, it's kind of crazy for a starter Pokemon to do as many things as Incineroar does, because most starter Pokemon do like one thing, and most of the time that one thing is not really good enough to warrant that Pokemon being used. Like Empoleon's a cool Pokemon, but it really just has competitive, and that's all that it does. And that's not enough to make it, like, great. It's just okay. Or, like, well, Rillaboom's kind of the same way, but that one thing that Rillaboom does is really, really good, and that's click Grassy Glide. Or just have really strong, like, grass attacks, set grassy terrain. Basically, Rillaboom just sets grassy terrain, but it sets grassy terrain so well, and it's so good, that it makes Rillaboom good. If that makes sense. But Incineroar's move pool is crazy, okay? Incineroar is not just, I have Intimidate, that's my gimmick. Incineroar has Fake Out, okay? Incineroar has Parting Shot, which is a pivoting move that lowers the opponent's stats, which is kind of insane for Incineroar to have because it already has Intimidate, so it can switch in and out very easily and just keep getting Intimidates off. And it's part of the reason why it's so good. It just provides so much support to any team that it's on that it's insane. Now, it used to get Knockoff, which is also a really good move. It will probably get access to Knockoff again this generation because Knockoff is a TM again. Didn't get it last gen. It had it in Sun and Moon. Didn't get it in Sword and Shield. Probably will have it again this generation because it's a TM again, which is kind of crazy. It gets Roar, which switches out the opponent. Don't sleep on how good Roar is because it is a higher priority than Trick Room. So it's a way to stop Trick Room that's not Taunt, and a lot of things can't get around Roar because it goes through Protect, etc., etc., Incineroar gets Taunt. It gets U-Turn. So even if it didn't get Parting Shot, which it didn't get Parting Shot until Sword and Shield. So in Sun and Moon, Incineroar is out here winning worlds without Parting Shot and just clicking U-Turn. It gets Will-O-Wisp because it's a fire type, and like every fire type gets Will-O-Wisp. If Burning Jealousy came back, I'm pretty sure Burning Jealousy is a really cool move. Basically, it's a spread move. It's a special spread move that burns anybody who got a stat boost this turn. Incineroar is pretty slow. If anybody tries to boost in front of Incineroar to kind of like mitigate the Intimidate, well, now they're burned. It just has tons of things. Like I said, it's kind of hard to explain how many ridiculous things Incineroar does. It is a Pokemon that can very easily lower the opponent's stats anytime it feels like it. Okay, between Parting Shot and Intimidate, and it gets Snarl. It has like pretty good offensive stats for how bulky it is and the role it fills as a bulky Pokemon. That like, if you're worried about Rillaboom, Incineroar just beats Rillaboom. Like, most Rillaboom are not going to get around an Incineroar. They're gonna get intimidated. They're not gonna do any damage, and then they're gonna go down to a Flare Blitz. And that is what Incineroar does. It sits on the field. It switches in and out. It lowers your opponent's stats. And then it can actually clean up because it has a pretty good attack stat. If we go to Pikalytics, right? Wow, I'm so bad at typing right now. Let me see if I can go back to... I can't go back. Oh, yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. If we go to the last format that Incineroar was legal in, Series 12. Incineroar? Series 12, Sword and Shield. Incineroar is it's like 75% usage. It's 73.76% usage. Insane. If we go back one more to Series 11, 45% usage. And it's really only lower because... Why is it lower? I'm not really sure why it was a little bit lower. I think there were just a lot of Pokemon running around. Series 10, 69% usage. Series 9, 40% usage. Like, Incineroar is a Pokemon that hangs between like 50 to 75% usage, and that's insane. That is... Oh, I know why. Series 12 ran for longer than like basically every other Sword and Shield format. So I had a lot more time to develop and a lot more time for people to go, oh, everything else is trash. I'm just going to run Incineroar. We can go back even further. We can go back to Sun and Moon. VGC 2019 Ultra Series, which was the very last format of Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. 76% usage. Because Incineroar is good into restricted Pokemon. Like, Incineroar is even good into restricted Pokemon. VGC Sun and Moon series, which is right before the Ultra series. 90% usage of Incineroar in Moon series. That's insane. Sun series, 74%. If we go back, we can't go back really any further than that. I mean, we can go back to... like regular Sun and Moon to VGC 2017. This is before Incineroar got Intimidate. So we want to go to VGC 2018, which is the first year that Incineroar got Intimidate. Yes, it has lower usage than Landorus, but Incineroar won Worlds this year. And I don't think Landorus did unless they were both on the same team. Incineroar is at 46% usage, and it is the second best Intimidate Pokemon because Landorus is here. I want to say that Landorus was running like... Let's look down here. Do we have the moves for all the Landoruses? Yes. Interesting. I don't know why I thought Landorus was running like Flying Z move, but I guess not. But yeah, I don't know. It's just... If you've never played a format with Incineroar, I want you to be ready, okay? Because Incineroar is going to be on, like, every team probably. Now, there is a chance that Hisuian Arcanine gives it a run for its money, okay? They have very, very similar stats now that I'm looking at them. 95, 80, 80. Whereas Incineroar is 95, 90, 90. So Incineroar is a little bit bulkier. They have the same attack stat. Wait. does Hisuian Arcanine straight up just have higher base stats than Incineroar? 95? Yeah, it does. That's really funny. Because it has more special... It has less defense and special defense, but it has more special attack and way more speed. That's funny. Hisuian Arcanine, higher base stats. That means that regular Arcanine has higher base stats than Incineroar? Is that right? Yeah. Well, there you go. I didn't know that. Now, okay, so Hisuian Arcanine might give it a run for its money. Just because Arcanine hits Incineroar for weakness, which is... There are other Intimidators that hit Incineroar for weakness, like Landorus, like Gyarados, like a million other things, I'm sure. But Landorus didn't stop Incineroar from being good, because Landorus is another physical attacker that Incineroar can intimidate. And the same thing is true for Arcanine. Arcanine is just another physical attacker for Incineroar to intimidate. Now, maybe we could see like Clear Amulet Arcanine be a thing. I don't know. Maybe Clear Amulet Arcanine is just a good intimidator that beats Incineroar. That's something we can theory craft at a future date. But I don't know. I know that like it 4 times resists Incineroar's most common like stab move, and like it hits Incineroar for weakness. But its defensive typing is not as good as Incineroar's. In fact, I would argue that Hisuian Arcanine has really bad defensive typing. It's got 2 4 times weaknesses. It's weak to fighting. It's weak to ground. It's 4 times weak to ground, 4 times weak to water. It doesn't really have that many resistances. Like, I guess it resists like fire and normal and fairy, and that's it. That's actually it. I think. But yeah, it's gonna be weird, right? Like maybe these 2 Intimidators like eat into each other's like hold on the format. But I think Incineroar is still gonna be crazy good. I just want you to be ready, because as ubiquitous as Hisuian Arcanine is now, and it's on like a lot of teams, Incineroar is probably going to be on even more teams. And as much as Arcanine has won the last like 5 regionals in a row or whatever, Incineroar could definitely just win the next bunch of tournaments in a row as soon as it's legal. So yeah, that's kind of the video. Incineroar is really good, and Incineroar existing actually just invalidates a lot of other Pokemon because it just does their job better while also doing the jobs of like other Pokemon. And it's just really good. And I kind of hate it for being so good sometimes. I really like Incineroar's design, and I really like how he's in Smash Bros. And all that stuff, but at some point you're going to hear me complain about Incineroar being so good and being on every team, and it single-handedly just like cripples every really stupid strategy that I want to use, and that's going to be true. And yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Incineroar. Hopefully this wasn't too rambly and this wasn't like such a crazy video, and if you've never used Incineroar before, you kind of understand where a lot of VGC players are coming from when they tell you that that Incineroar coming is huge. But with that, everybody, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a big fat like, leave me a comment, tell me what you would like to see in the future. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscribed. This is going to be like a 20-minute video. What are you doing? You listen to me ramble for 20 minutes. Like, just go ahead and subscribe. And with that, everybody, my name is Andrew. I'll catch you guys next time.
Fluttermane, 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 Fluttermane. Making big reads in my flutter brain. Eevee's giving me flutter gains. Play it on rain, call it flutter rain. Get what you run a flutter train. Boss so smooth like a buttermane. Fluttermane, Fluttermane, Fluttermane. Fluttermane, 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 Fluttermane. Making big reads in my flutter brain. Eevee's giving me flutter gains. Play it on rain, call it flutter